When I left Duke, I was an English and theater double major, knew I wanted to be in theater. I worked, because of a Duke alum that I met through my interviewing process, I worked for a Broadway producer named Jill Furman for the first 3 years after I graduated, which was wonderful. But while I was there, I was looking for my own creative project outside of work, and that's when I started blogging. So I started NYC Book Girl as just like the story of me and the books I was reading at the time and the city I was living in and being a 20-something reader in New York. And then it grew into its own thing, and I started running it more as a business and having partners I was accountable to. And from there, my now boss found me. When Avid Reader was launching, our first book was 3 Women by Lisa Taddeo, which is a nonfiction narrative account of the sex lives of 3 real American women. So my boss had contacted me about reading it, and then a few months later got in touch and asked if I was looking for a new job, and if so, she was hiring for this position, and would I be interested in having coffee? And so I had coffee, and then it just spiraled forward from there. So I kind of fell into publishing through the blog sphere. A mistake that I've made has been overpromising. I think that I think very highly of how much I can do in a certain amount of time. And so my gut instinct is always to say yes, when sometimes it's actually better to say no and to save yourself the time or the mental space. And so I think that within the first few years of saying yes to absolutely everything and running myself down, I've found the space to really decide what's worth it for me, to take the partnerships that I'm most interested in, to go to the events that I'm going to get the most from, but to know that it's okay to say no and to save time for yourself so that you can come back and do the things you want to do even better. I think you should make whatever space for yourself you're looking for. I think that a lot of times we stop ourselves before we start. We say like, oh, I don't have the fancy camera, I don't have the time, I don't have the resources. But if you just get out there and start and think about it afterwards, that can serve you the best. When I started NYC Book Girl, it was like me and the 5 books I was reading at the time and photos I was taking on my iPhone. But I didn't let that slow me down. And then after that came the infrastructure needed to actually run it as a business. But it's like always been driven by my passion, and I think that's something that attracts people to it.